With the empires here upon us, this whole world is the same. Heart in us we are Yahweh's children, and led by His command. What a place to be, right here in His hand. When the earth is shaken, the sea is raging, and the sun is stretching, the clouds are failing, the wrath of Yahweh is poured out on men. Oh, who can stand? Even buried on His shores, so high on eagle's wings. And this world you will hide again. You're moving of the Spirit, there's a tugging on the heart. And the great desire is in voice of God. Yes, we're getting ready for the time is just for a place to be free from fear and dread. When the earth is shaking, the sea is raging, and the sun is stretching, and His hearts are failing, and the wrath of Yahweh is poured out on man. Oh, who can stand? You're carried on His shoulders, so high on eagle's wings. You're His wild, you will hide again.
Sorry.
Stop.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Page 100.
20 seconds.
Oh, wow, that's a long way.
When the I take the spirit of the run around. I promise to wonder, I hear a voice thunder. I am the dream, I am the David and Peter and Paul. I am great,
Father Yahweh, thank you for allowing us to get together on your Sabbath day. Father, thank you for everything you've done for us throughout the week. We ask that you visit with us today. Open our minds and our eyes that we see and understand your truth. Father, bless us. Keep us safe. And we give thanks and ask all of this in Yeshua's name. Baruch haba Hashem Yahweh. Bless us in the name of Yahweh.
All right, welcome. Pretty much standard announcements today. If you have prayer requests or praise reports, put them up here on the cork board, and Deborah will capture those and send them out in the email. And if you'd like to receive that email and or not, see Deborah or one of the elders, and we'll be glad to get you hooked up with that. If you're interested in reading Torah, there's a sign-up sheet on the other wall here. Feel free to put your name up there. And just a reminder to silence cell phones if you have them with you today. And the 18th of February will be the 12th month new moon observance, and we'll be meeting around 5 o'clock. Sunset's about 5:30. And I do have some handouts here if you'd like after service. Come find me. I've got the schedule for the feast for the year, and I'm just going to cover the ones that are coming up in the next few weeks. The Passover meal service will be the yes. Sir.
Gesundheit. I have permission to post it on the website. Yes. Okay.
I'll make sure
done
you.
tonight.
I'll make sure you have one here. The Passover meal service will be the 1st of April. Sunset's about 7 o'clock, so we'll probably meet about 6:30 for start time. We may refine that a little bit as we get closer and talk with Joellen and such for doing that. And we'll also do the feet washing service and the bread and wine during that service as well. And then the first day of unleavened bread will be the 3rd of April at 1 p.m. And the last day of unleavened bread will be the 9th of April at 1 p.m. And that's what I have for announcements today. And I'll turn the time over to Caitlin for the Torah reading.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
We will be starting in Exodus 18:1 through 20:26. Now Yitro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, how Yahweh had brought the Israel out of Egypt. And Yitro, Moses' father-in-law, took Moses' wife Zipporah after he had sent her away, and her 2 sons, of whom one was named Gershom, for Moses said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. And the other was named Eleazar, for he said, The God of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was camped, at the mount of God. And he sent word to Moses, I, your father Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her. Then Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and he bowed down and kissed him, and they asked each other of their welfare and went into the tent. And Moses recounted to his father-in-law all that Yahweh had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had befallen them on the journey, and how Yahweh had delivered them. And Jethro rejoiced over all the goodness which Yahweh had done to Israel, that he had delivered them from the hand of the Egyptians. So Jethro said, Blessed be Yahweh who delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of Pharaoh, and who delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that Yahweh is greater than all the gods, for in this matter they acted presumptuously against the people. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law before God. Now it happened the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood about Moses from the morning until the evening. And Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people. So he said, What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, and all the people stand about you from morning until evening? And Moses said to his father-in-law, Because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a matter, it comes to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and make known the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said to him, The thing that you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out, both yourself and these people who are with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Now listen to my voice. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You be the people's representative before God, and you bring the matters to God. Then warn them about the statutes and the laws, and make known to them the way in which they shall go, and the work they shall do. But you shall select excellent men out of all the people, those who fear God, men of truth, those who hate greedy gain. And you shall place these men over them as leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. And they will judge the people at all times. And it will be that every major matter they will bring to you, but every minor matter they themselves will judge. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people also will go to their place in peace. So Moses listened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose excellent men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. And they judged the people at all times. The difficult matter they would bring to Moses, but every minor matter they themselves would judge. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. In the 3rd month after the sons of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, on this day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. Then they set out from Rephidim, and came to the wilderness of Sinai, and camped in the wilderness. And there Israel camped in front of the mountain. Now Moses went up to God, and Yahweh called to him from the mountain, saying, Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the sons of Israel, You yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I lifted you up on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. So now then, If you will indeed listen to my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession among all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the sons of Israel. So Moses came and called the elders of the people and set before them all these words which Yahweh had commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that Yahweh has spoken, we will do. And Moses brought back the words of the people to Yahweh. Yahweh said to Moses, Behold, I will come to you in a thick cloud, so that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe in you forever. Then Moses told the words of the people to Yahweh. Yahweh also said to Moses, Go to the people and set them apart as holy today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments. And let them be ready for the third day, for on the third day Yahweh will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. And you shall set bounds for the people all around, saying, Beware that you do not go up on the mountain, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned, or surely shot through. Whether beast or man, he shall not live. When the ram's horn sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people, and set the people apart as holy, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, Be ready for the third day, do not go near a woman. So it happened on the third day, when it was morning, that there were thunder and lightning flashes, and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and a very loud trumpet sound, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was all in smoke, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled violently. And the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder. Then Moses spoke, and God answered him with thunder. And Yahweh came down on Mount Sinai, to the top of the mountain. And Yahweh called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go down, warn the people, lest they break through to Yahweh to see, and many of them perish. Also, let the priests who come near to Yahweh set themselves apart as holy, lest Yahweh break out against them. And Moses said to Yahweh, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, Set bounds about the mountain, and set it apart as holy. Then Yahweh said to him, Go down and come up again, you and Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to Yahweh, lest he break out against them. So Moses went down to the people and told them. Then God spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol, or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I, Yahweh your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain, for Yahweh will not leave him unpunished, who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yahweh your God. In it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male or your female slave, or your cattle or your sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which Yahweh your God gives you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male slave, or his female slave, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. And all the people perceived the thunder and the lightning flashes, and the sound of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And the people perceived it, and they shook and stood at a distance. Then they said to Moses, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen. But let not God speak to us, lest we die." And Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid, for God has come in order to test you, and in order that the fear of him may be with you, so that you may not sin." So the people stood at a distance, but Moses came near the dense gloom where God was. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, you yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make other gods besides me, gods of silver or gods of gold. You shall not make for yourselves. You shall make an altar of earth for me, and you shall sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I cause my name to be remembered, I will come to you and bless you. And if you make an altar of stone for me, you shall not build it of cut stones, for if you wield your tool on it, you will profane it. And you shall not go up by steps to my altar, so that your nakedness will not be exposed on it." Next, we are in Isaiah 6:1 through 7:6. Pardon me. In the year of King Uzziah's death, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, with the train of his robe filling the temple. Seraphim stood above him, each having 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, and with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one called out to another and said, "Holy, holy, holy is Yahweh of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." And the foundations of the thresholds shook at the voice of him who called out, while the house of God was filling with smoke. Then I said, "Woe is me, for I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, Yahweh of hosts." Then one of the seraphim flew to me, with a burning coal in his hand, which he had taken from the altar with tongs. And he touched my mouth with it, and said, "Behold, this has touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is atoned for." Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Then I said, "Here I am, send me." He said, "Go and tell this people, keep on hearing, but do not understand. Keep on seeing, but do not know. Render the hearts of this people insensitive, their ears dull, and their eyes dim, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and return and be healed." Then I said, "Lord, how long?" And he said, "Until cities are devastated and without inhabitant, houses are without people, and the land is devastated to desolation, And Yahweh has removed men far away, and the forsaken places are many in the midst of the land. Yet there will be a tenth portion in it, and it will again be subject to burning, like a terebinth or like an oak, whose stump remains when it is felled. The holy seed is its stump. Now it happened in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Aram, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up to Jerusalem to wage war against it, but could not conquer it. When it was told to the house of David, saying, "The Arameans have camped in Ephraim," his heart and the hearts of his people shook, as the trees of the forest shake before the wind. Then Yahweh said to Isaiah, "Go out now to meet Ahaz, you and your son Shear-Yashub, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, to the highway of the fuller's field, and say to him, Take care and stay quiet. Have no fear, and do not be faint-hearted, because of these two stubs of smoldering firebrands, on account of the burning anger of Rezin, and Aram, and the son of Remaliah. Because Aram, with Ephraim and the son of Remaliah, has counseled evil against you, saying, Let us go up against Judah and terrorize it, and make for ourselves a breach in its walls, and set up the son of Tabel as king in the midst of it." Next, we are in Isaiah 9, 5 through 6. For every boot of the booted warrior and the rumbling of battle, and cloak rolled in blood, will be for burning, fuel for the fire. For a child will be born to us, a son will be given to us, and the government will rest on his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. Last, we're in Matthew 8, 5 through 20. And when Yeshua entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him, pleading with him, and saying, Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, fearfully tormented. And Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion said, Lord, I am not good enough for you to come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man under authority, with soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goes, and to another, Come, and he comes, and to my slave, Do this, and he does it. Now when Yeshua heard this, he marveled, and said to those who were following, Truly I say to you, I have not found such great faith with anyone in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from east and west, and recline at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Yeshua said to the centurion, Go, it shall be done for you as you have believed. And the servant was healed at that very moment. When Yeshua came into Peter's home, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick in bed with a fever, and he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began waiting on him. Now when evening came, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed, and he cast out the spirits with a word, and healed all who were ill, in order to fulfill what was spoken through Isaiah the prophet, saying, He himself took our infirmities and carried away our diseases. Now when Yeshua saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea. Then a scribe came and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And Yeshua said to him, "The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." That concludes the readings for today.
All right.
Okay, in Luke 23, verse 13. Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said unto them, "You have brought this man unto me as one that perverts the people. And behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man touching these things whereof you accuse him. No, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. And I will therefore chastise him and release him. For of necessity he must release one unto them at the feast." And they cried out all at once, saying, "Away with this man, and release unto us Barabbas, who for a certain sedition made in the city, and for murder was cast into prison." Pilate, therefore, willing to release Yeshua, spoke again to them, but they cried, saying, "Crucify him, crucify him." And he said unto them the third time, "Why? What evil has he done? I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go." And they were instant with loud voices, requiring that he might be crucified. And the voices of them and of the chief priest prevailed. And Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. A poet once wrote, "Of all the words of tongue or pen, the saddest of these it might have been." If that's true, then one of the most tragic words in human language must be the word almost. Almost speaks of aborted opportunities and missed chances. And I'm sure that as long as this world exists, almost will dot the pages of human history. I almost climbed the mountain. We almost reached our goal. I almost closed the deal. We almost got there in time. We all had those almost experiences. I suppose that the most infamous almost in history would have been Pilate, because he almost released Yeshua. He almost lowered the gavel and said, "Not guilty." He almost said, "I dismiss all charges because this man is innocent." He almost set him free. What a change that would have made in our perception of Pilate. We might even be calling him Saint Pilate today. He almost did it, but he didn't. Yet he could have. And that is his tragedy. He had the authority to do it. He wore the signet ring that said he had the power to do it. All he had to do was speak in the word decisively, and Yeshua would have been set free. And he did it almost. Verse 23 says, but with loud shouts, they insistently demanded that he be put to the stake, and their shouts prevailed. So Pilate decided to grant their demand. He listened to their voices. We could even say, I suppose, that he listened to the voices of evil, to the voice of Satan. We've heard the voices too. Voices saying, go ahead, do it. No one's ever going to know. Or just one little drink won't hurt. Satan beckons unto us into paths that we should not go. But Pilate didn't have to listen to those voices. There were other voices he could have listened to. He could have listened to his wife, who sent a note that said, don't have anything to do with that innocent man, for I have suffered a great deal today in a dream because of him. You find this in Matthew 27, verse 19. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, have thou nothing to do with the just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. He could have listened to her voice. He almost did. He could have listened to his own voice. Pilate was no dummy. He knew what was going on. He knew that Ananias and Caiaphas, the chief priests, were corrupt and greedy. He knew they were lying about Yeshua. He could have listened to his own voice, to reason, common sense. He almost did. But he didn't. Pilate is not the only one who has played the game of almost. Some of us have played that game also. I almost made the decision today to be baptized, perhaps. Oh, I almost said, here I am, Lord, use me. But the Bible is very clearly teaches us that there are no almost with Yahweh. There is no almost in the kingdom of Yahweh. No almost place where we can go. It's either the kingdom of heaven or death. And Pilate's tragedy could be our tragedy too. So when we open the Bible and we begin to read the story of Yeshua, we read about being placed on the stake. Even though Pilate came that close to freeing Yeshua, he didn't. So as we view that scene, we see soldiers going about their task. They were used to putting people on the stake. They had done it many times before. First, they laid the stake down on the ground. Then they placed Yeshua and the two thieves upon them, driving sharp spikes through their hands and feet. Then they hoisted the rough wooden stakes into the air and dropped them into the holes that had held the stakes before. And then they were done. Yeshua's dying. You would think that by now Annas and Caiaphas would have been satisfied, but there was something about the sign placed on the stake that angered them. It read Yeshua, King of the Jews. Once again, they stormed into the presence of Pilate. And we could only wish that Pilate had as firm a decision and decisive earlier as he shows himself to now. For when they came rushing into his presence, protesting the wording of the sign, Pilate says, that's enough. What I have written, I have written. The sign stays. Yeshua, King of the Jews. So there he hangs between heaven and earth, looking through tears and blood. He could see the faces of the people who had gathered around him. It was an unusually large crowd. Perhaps there was no football game there or soccer matches to watch that day. So they went to watch an execution. And as that view of the scene and look at the faces, we look for friendly faces. Someone we might recognize. Where was Peter? Surely Peter would have shown up, but Peter is nowhere to be seen. Oh, how about James, Andrew, Bartholomew? The soldiers gathered underneath the stake and began throwing dice, gambling for his robe. And every time we look at those soldiers, we see a little bit of ourselves, don't we? Sometimes we're so close to the stake, and yet so far away. They were right there, right next to the blood that was dropping on the ground. They could hear the cries of pain. They could look up any time they wished to see Yeshua dying there. And yet their minds were someplace else. They were rolling dice to see who would get his robe. And listen, Yeshua's praying, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Father, forgive the soldiers who drove the nails into my hands. Forgive Pilate, who found me innocent but sentenced me to die anyways. Forgive Annas and Caiaphas and the Sanhedrin and all the rest. Father, forgive the believers who will meet at the church in Panama City, Florida, because their sins nailed me here too. Yes, Father, forgive them all. I don't know if we could ever pray that kind of prayer. Sometimes we have a hard time getting along with our neighbors. Sometimes we have a hard time forgiving our spouses or our children or even our brothers and sisters. But yet Yeshua taught us to pray. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. The gospel tells us that Yeshua spoke 7 times on the stake. 3 times he spoke before the darkness came. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Then he turns to one of the thieves and said, you shall be with me in paradise. He also looked at Mary, his mother, and John, the apostle, and said, woman, behold your son, and son, behold your mother. Suddenly darkness covers the earth. The wind started to blow. Lightning and thunder rolled across the sky. And even the ground began to shake. And then the storm was at its height. Yeshua cried out, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. And those who stood at the distance could barely hear his words. Some said maybe he calls for Elijah. Let's see if Elijah comes. But those who were closest heard what he said. Ma'el, why have you forsaken me? At that moment in time, the sins of the world, your sins and mine, caused Yahweh our Father to turn his face from his Son. Then the darkness left, and 3 more cries came from his lips. I thirst. It is finished. And Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Then it's all over. The greatest victory of all had been won. On a hill that looked like a skull outside of Jerusalem, everything that Yahweh had worked for and planned was finally realized in the death and burial and ultimate resurrection of Yeshua. You know, there's probably nothing more consistent about life than its inconsistencies. Life is like tossed salads, isn't it? You stick in your fork and you never know for sure what you're going to get. Like a roller coaster, it's ups and downs, twists and turns. You never really know what will happen next. But if there is one very strong message that comes to us from Calvary, it is that Yahweh is able to weave it all together. He can take all the inconsistencies, all the fragments and pieces of our life, and weave them together into a beautiful tapestry, just as he planned. That is the message we need to hear. Because one day the sun shines and the next it rains. One day we think everything's going our way, and the next our world comes crashing down around us. One moment we are young and healthy, and the next the doctor tells us that he has some bad news for us. Yet Yeshua is saying it really doesn't matter, because all of you have really committed yourselves to me will find righteousness and goodness and victory, not defeat. You will find that your despair is replaced with eternal hope, because that is the message of Calvary. So in light of all that, our prayer ought to be, O Yahweh, Almighty Elohim, help us never ever to look at the stake and see the one who died there without feeling a tear on our cheek or feeling our hearts strangely moved and broken. Let us never come here, Yahweh, and just casually look at it and almost be moved by it, but turn away from it and go on with life as usual. You see, the ultimate tragedy in every worship service is that there are people who are almost ready to make a decision. There are people who stand right on the brink of saying, I surrender all and I'm going to follow Yeshua, and they almost do it. Others are just like those soldiers casting dice at the feet of Yeshua. They're so engrossed in what they're doing that they never look up and let the message sink in and make a change in their lives. They're so near and yet so far. So once again, praying that if you're almost there, you won't turn away like Caiaphas and Annas and Pilate and the soldiers, but that you will look and see and listen and make that decision. You don't want to be almost in the kingdom. You want to be in the kingdom. Yeah, we bless. 67. Song I've ever sung tells about God's only Son, who gave himself a ransom for my soul. Redeemed by blood for so much more than all this world could ever afford. All this diamonds and its gold. Redeemed, it's a gift you see. Blood has set me free. The song of praise until at last His voice I raise to you in the perfect song. Sweetest song I ever heard, found written in those words. The melody still flows from Calvary. The heart that hears the shadowy play will never be the same. I hear echoing through you and me. It's a gift you see. Yeshua's blood has set me free. Praise the song of praise until at last His voice I raise and sing to Him the perfect song.
I don't know how it is that the sister wrote those songs and she still doesn't know how fast to sing them. Father, I thank you for this day and for the word you've given us. I thank you for the heart you've put in each and every one of us for you, your son, and your word. I ask that you'll grow our love for all of them, for you, your son, for your word, and for everything that you do for us and for your people, to form us into your kingdom, your family, and to help us live it in this world. Draw everybody to you by the way we live, through our example, and that we'd be faithful to you and to the Messiah in everything that we do and say. Thank you for the food you provided us with. I ask that you bless it for us, use it to nourish and strengthen our bodies and to further us in the service of your word. It's in Yeshua's name we pray. Baruch haba Hashem Yahweh. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. Hallelujah.
Okay, we'll put salad.
That's what we were saying, man. Always working.